You know how we do it around here, headliner style. So you know what time it is. Hit that like button because it's time to pop, lock, and mock it. Hey, what's going on, Headliner Nation? If I didn't scare you away with my dancing, then it means that you're still tuned in to our latest mock draft episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. Coming to you live from the draft.com studios, and I'm going to be tossing it over to Ryan in just a second because he is going to be walking you through today's latest episode. But before I do that, keep in mind that we do have a special deal for you with our partners over at Draft. Make sure you take advantage of that as soon as possible. Right now, a free $3 entry with the first deposit of $10 or more. But here's the thing. We're throwing in a little bit extra as well. So what I need everyone to do, go to draft.com or download the app, sign up for a new draft account, and use our promo code. That's the most important part. Use our promo code HEADLINERS. Okay. After you've done that, make a $10 deposit and receive a free $3 entry from Draft. Then you're going to shoot us an email with your draft username to TheFantasyHeadliners@gmail.com. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give you $10 off our 2019 draft guide. I don't know any better deal than that, especially that draft guide. I promise you all, that is one of the best deals that you're going to find this fantasy football season. So let's kick things off. Let's toss it over to Ryan, and he's going to help us work through today's mock draft. Ryan, it's all you, buddy.
As you guys can see, we're getting ready to do another best ball mock draft for you guys. Put a little extra skin in the game. This is going to be a 10-person, $5 entry mock draft. I've actually reached out to some of our close followers to come join us. I got K-Rich in the building. We got some very sharp people that are going to be involved with this draft. So it's going to be a more accurate representation of where these guys are actually going. As you can see, before we get started, I'm going to be at the 1.1 position, which I love going early. I want to get one of these top 4 to 5 running backs on my team to really solidify that core and give me that great upside. After we receive news that Ezekiel Elliott is not going to be suspended, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick pretty much in any format. If you go Christian McCaffrey, I can't fault you there, but I just love Zeke Elliott, and with the number 1 overall pick, that's who I'll be selecting. Now, if we look at the 2nd overall pick, Kyle Richardson took Christian McCaffrey, followed by Alvin Kamara and Saquon Barkley. This should come as no surprise to you guys. These guys are going to be the centerpieces in those first 4 picks. Once you get to 1.5 position, it's kind of up for grabs. So, I mean, you're going to see David Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Melvin Gordon in a mix there, and it's all down to personal preference. But luckily for us, we got some sharp-minded guys in this pick with us. So we're definitely looking forward to the outcomes, the strategies involved, and it's going to give you some great insight on who you should be targeting in these drafts. Now, if you guys are interested in joining us, me and Jake will be doing these weekly best ball drafts each week. Now, you can go sign up, draft.com, follow me and Jake on draft.com. My username, as you can see right here, is drafting_king. Jake's username is TFHJake. Stands for The Fantasy Headliners Jake. TFH Jake. Kyle Richardson's in the building. His username is KRich1532. For those who do not follow him, join all of us as we do these weekly mock drafts. So it looks like someone's stalling out there a little bit. As we pick back up, you got the elite wide receivers going out the board. Hopkins, followed by Adams and Michael Thomas. In my personal preference, I would take Adams as the number 1 overall pick, just because you got Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback there. I think he has a safer floor and more upside in that offense. I love Joe Mixon. I love drafting on the turn. Even though you don't get those elite running backs, you get to do some interesting options. I'm not a fan of taking Travis Kelce, but it does give you that positional advantage at the tight end position. Why I don't like drafting a tight end early is because you miss out on those elite running backs and wide receivers. If I'm at the 1.10 there, I might go Joe Mixon and James Conner as my 1-2 punch for a running back core, or I might go Joe Mixon and Odell Beckham. I think that's the better pick overall. Travis Kelce, I can't fault you there. He's definitely going to give you that positional advantage, and in those best ball formats and our redraft formats, that's what we're looking for. But from what I've seen, I just feel like overall you'll be more satisfied if you go running back and wide receiver heavy in these earlier rounds. It's safer, and I think, frankly, it'll have more upside for you guys. Todd Gurley with the 2.4. A lot of concern with that arthritis in his knee. Is he going to stay healthy for you guys? Going in the second round, it's still great value. You can't pass it up in a premier talent like that, because if he stays healthy, he could definitely carry you to a fantasy football championship, especially going that late. Followed up by Julio Jones, who's going to see a massive amount of volume. We talked about the Atlanta Falcons offense playing 13 games indoors this year. No concern for weather there. And we're coming back on the clock, and oh my goodness. Back-to-back picks, guys, and this is what I love. Like, you never know how a draft's going to unfold, but we were able to snag James Conner followed by Damian Williams to back-to-back picks. I think I'm going to win this league hands down now. I'm just super stoked for those draft picks going in 2.10 and 3.1. Now, Damian Williams is normally a third-round pick, but for James Conner to fall that late in the draft, I mean, that's just great value there. And that's what we're looking for at the Fantasy Headliners. You shouldn't really have a plan involved, but if the value presents itself, go ahead and grab it. I mean, George Kittle and Zach Ertz are both on the board in the third round. That's great value for a great positional advantage player in either one of those players. I prefer Zach Ertz over George Kittle. Amari Cooper, me and K. Rich are very high on the Dallas offense this year. I love Amari Cooper and Dak Prescott. Great values for you at the wide receiver and quarterback position. Antonio Brown's going to get a huge target share in that Oakland offense. Good value again in the third round. Zach Ertz, 3.4. Oh my. Hunter Lee, 2.84. Congratulations. Excellent value for Zach Ertz. Followed by A.J. Green. I would not be surprised if I see George Kittle go off the board here. If not, it would probably be someone like T.Y. Hilton. Now, it's important to pay attention to your opponent's roster construction. That way you can kind of see what their team has assembled so far, so you don't get sniped in these later rounds. So let's look ahead here. I got a while. But if we take a look, oh my. So I got K. Rich right before me, and then I get back-to-back picks followed by K. Rich right behind me. So I really want to pay attention to Kyle's team. Who's he drafting? Who does he need? That way when it comes to my picks, I know basically where I have a good idea of where he's going to go. That's going to give me an advantage in the draft. Look for the players around you before and after you. What are their team needs? Where do you think they're going to go? And kind of plan ahead. But that's the thing about these drafts. You have to stay fluid. You have to be on top of your toes, and you have to be able to adapt to what kind of values are being presented to you. George Kittle going at the 3.7, followed by Aaron Jones. Love those values. Kerryon Johnson's someone we're very concerned about, basically because of Matt Patricia. How heavily involved is he going to be in that offense? It could be a running back by committee. Who really knows? But at the 4.1, I love that value. He definitely has some great upside. And that's the nice thing about these best ball leagues. You're swinging for upside, and your best positional players are automatically going to be started for you. So let's say Kerryon Johnson only has 2 stud weeks out of the whole season. Well, when he has those stud weeks, he's automatically going to be slotted in to your running back position and take over that top spot. Followed by Marlon Mack, another upside player, should be heavily utilized in that offense, very up-tempo in Indy. Patrick Mahomes finally goes off the board at 4.3. This is where he should be going in your fantasy football drafts. I see him going a lot earlier, but like I said, I'm involved with a lot of sharp-minded guys. A lot of people who follow us very closely here at the Fantasy Headliners. So this is going to be some tougher competition. People aren't going to be reaching for, Donovan McNabb or something crazy. Now, I've already drafted a bunch of running backs. And like I said, we're going for upside here, guys. I need some more help at the wide receiver position. So I'm going to go for an upside play in Tyreek Hill, even though we don't know his true suspension. If it's only 4 games, I just hit a home run. And I'm going to follow that up by a safe play with Julian Edelman. You want a very balanced approach here. I got some high upside play followed by a safe play at the wide receiver position. And this is going to be your positional breakdown each week. You need 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 1 tight end to start for you each week. So what I'm going to be looking for later in the drafts is to draft more wide receivers than running backs. So I have that positional advantage. So when bye weeks come, if injuries occur or one of my studs just doesn't perform, I have that volume at the position to really help me capitalize and score the most points as possible. David Montgomery at the 5.3. I really love this value for David Montgomery. I see him going in the 4th round in a lot of drafts, and frankly, I think he's going to be the rookie of the year if Kyler Murray doesn't ball out in that Cardinals offense. But man, you got to love his opportunity with the Chicago Bears. Easiest strength schedule for running backs. Great opportunities, 270 vacated touches, and you got Coach Nagy as an X factor. Yeah, sign me up for some Montgomery going in the 5th. Trevor Matt, great pick to you. Chris Godwin is another upside play. Should receive some heavy volume in that Buccaneers offense. Their defense is just frankly horrendous. And Jameis Winston's going to have to be passing the ball a lot. Love that pick there. So looking ahead, guys, I'm looking to target. I want to solidify my wide receiver position, not loving what's available. I like Robbie Anderson, maybe Sammy Watkins as a hedge, or if I just want to go all out. Chief stack, but I'm looking for like Robbie Anderson and a Tyler Boyd. It's great value later in the drafts. Love me some Tyler Lockett at the 5.7. That's great value. Philip Lindsay. Jake just did a video about the Denver backfield as being a backfield you want to avoid. But if you're getting these types of running backs, Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay, this late in the draft, for the depth you're going to need on your team, I'll definitely take a chance on Philip Lindsay over Royce Freeman. The only time I'm taking Royce Freeman over Philip Lindsay is maybe in standard formats. I love Lindsay's upside. If you can get him in the 6th round or later, I think that's great value there. I don't mind him at the 5.8, especially in a 10-man league. Mike Williams is another player with tremendous upside. With the departure of Tyrell Williams, he should take a big step forward here in 2019, really establish himself as the wide receiver 2 option in that offense. Hunter Henry is coming back, so there's going to be some competition for targets in the red zone, but luckily Mike Williams is a great red zone threat because of his size and stature. I like his upside there. So our guys are still available. Just hoping no one snipes Robbie Anderson or Tyler Boyd. We do have a couple picks to go. Now that's kind of the thing. When you get back-to-back picks, you have to really pay attention. You got to make safe and smart picks. I'm not going to take too many chances because I have to wait so long in between picks. Andrew Luck going in the 6th is pretty much standard everywhere you're going to be looking for 2019. He should be the QB 1 or 2. Him and Patrick Mahomes are normally the 2 first quarterbacks taken off the board. I love Andrew Luck there. Very high up-tempo offense. He gets Jack Doyle back. You got Eric Ebron there. They drafted a solid wide receiver. Get some help with Devin Funches. So, yeah, sign me up for some Luck all day. He's got too many weapons and a high-tempoed offense. He could easily be the QB1, especially if Tyreek Hill's suspension is longer than we anticipate. O.J. Howard at the 6.5. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I think there's better options out there, but if you're looking for upside at tight end position, it's definitely someone worth considering just because the Buccaneers are going to have to throw the ball a butt ton this year. I mean, just an absolute butt ton. Their defense is horrendous. I get back-to-back picks. I get both my guys, Robbie Anderson and Tyler Boyd. Excuse me there. One's a very high upside play. The other's high upside with a safer floor in Tyler Boyd. So let's take a look at my team. Oh, my man. Hunter Henry, they're in the 7th round. That's good value. So I'm going to have to look to start drafting a tight end. But luckily for you guys, I have a great sleeper value for you guys at the tight end position. And it's going to really allow you to build the core of your team. What we're going to really want to target, we're going to want to target running back and wide receivers early. That's going to give you a safe team with high upside. And frankly, so far, I'm loving my team. I got Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner, and Damian Williams. You got to love that for your running back core. And Damian Williams can fill in as my flex spot. For my wide receiver 1, Tyreek Hill, who will be MIA for how many games we still do not know, but you're gambling on that upside. When he does come back, he will be the wide receiver 1, followed up by Julian Edelman, Robbie Anderson, and Tyler Boyd as some safer options just to fill in while he is suspended. Now that I've solidified that core, let's look at the tight end and quarterback position, see who we want to target. Aaron Rodgers is still available. That'd be a great asset to acquire for our team. Sammy Watkins in the 7th round. He could have tremendous upside this year if he can stay healthy, especially since we do not know how long Tyreek Hill is going to be suspended. Followed by Christian Kirk. Should be a very key part of that offense with Kyler Murray. And they are talked about going to 90% shotgun approach in that offense. He's playing the slot position, spread offense. Yeah, should see a lot of volume there in the 7th round. Good value. Cooper Kupp is a wide receiver we recently talked about, and the reason why he's going later in drafts, as you can see here at the 7.8, Steven, not cool, dude. That's my guy, Aaron Rodgers. But the reason why you see Cooper Kupp going later here is because he's coming off an ACL injury. And normally how long it takes to recover from an ACL injury, Jake dove into this in great detail. It normally takes a full year. And he tore it in November, late of last year. So when we start the season, he might not be a full 100%. So his ADP has definitely dropped. He's not the wide receiver 1 you would expect out of him if he was healthy. So he could be a great value for you later in drafts, but just expect a slower start for Cooper Kupp in 2019. Now the wide receivers are, excuse me. Now the QBs are starting to come off the board in the 7th round, and that's what you should expect in almost all of your redraft leagues. If you're with some people who are heavily involved in fantasy football, who are informed and sharp-minded, you're going to want to wait at QB. I'm waiting at QB and I'm waiting at tight end. And I'll tell you why. I'm waiting on tight end because the value, the later rounds, I think are going to present, and the core it's going to give me at the running back and wide receiver position. I'm waiting at QB because you can still wait till those later rounds and still get a very viable option at the quarterback position. Matt Ryan going in the 8th round, it's great value. Trevor Matt sniped my guy. Vance McDonald was my sleeper value at the tight end position. With the vacated targets with Antonio Brown leaving, definitely love his upside. Speaking of upside, I'm going to have to snag my quarterback now, and I'm going to follow that up with my tight end. I want a well-rounded team. And these are guys with good upside. Jameis Winston, like I've been preaching all video long, is going to have to throw the ball a butt ton this year. Eric Ebron, even though we expect him to regress, he could have some great games with high upside, high touchdown rate, maybe post a couple 2 to 3 touchdown games. And in those best ball formats, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a high upside. I'm going to have to really dive in and find a different option at the tight end, since my guy Vance McDonald, who is a sleeper value for you guys at the tight end position, was sniped from me. That was my plan all along. I should have known better, but that's the thing. You got to be fluid. You got to be able to adjust. So as we take a look here, not anything to be excited about. I do love Jack Doyle. He should be going later. Delaney Walker should be going later. Mark Andrews. Just as some different value options later in the draft. So I already got one respectable tight end who should be a viable option for us. And so with that, we're going to go back to the best available. And in that, we got Tevin Coleman, Marvin Jones. Royce is still available there. Ronald Jones, Corey Davis. Geronimo Allison is a very interesting option. Some high praise coming out of camp for him, playing out of the slot this year. Should have tremendous upside. I like him going much later in drafts. Will Fuller is an interesting option. He's kind of becoming an afterthought, but if you take a look at what he did back in 2018, if he can stay healthy, and that's the key phrase, if he can stay healthy, he offers some tremendous upside for you guys this year. Steven, Ronald Jones, really? Jake, throw up the graphic. Come on, Steven, you know better than that. Ronald Jones, even in the 9th round, we want no part of him. Tevin Coleman at the 9.9 was great value. Steven kind of redeems himself with the Geronimo Allison pick. I was just speaking about him. Coming out of the slot, a lot of high reviews, great rapport with Aaron Rodgers, should perform phenomenally and provide great value with some flex option in your redraft formats. Love them in best ball formats. Another interesting option is MVS. He's going to be playing on the outside, but he's kind of going to be a boomer bust option depending on if he can establish that rapport with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the guy's 6'4" and runs a 4.3 40. I mean, that's the type of deep ball threat you would want to expect in an Aaron Rodgers-led offense. So in these best ball formats, he's definitely a guy like Robbie Anderson who has that long ball ability, someone going much later in drafts I love to target. Curtis Samuel, I love his value there. I have him higher than Moore, who's going 3 to 4 rounds earlier. I love his upside. I think he's the more talented wide receiver and could definitely provide good value for your team in 2019. Speaking about MVS, I speak about these players and I swear these guys can hear me. Like they were just reading my mind. Wow. Not loving what's available. Going to go with my second quarterback off the board just to go with a more balanced approach there. And since there is some concern about Phillip Lindsay and whether or not he'll be healthy start week 1, Royce Freeman definitely provides some nice value for us at the running back position. Yeah, I'm going to have to snag him. Should get a lot of goal line work. Definitely going to be the in-between the tackles type of running back, and in a half-point PPR, I don't mind that. In a full PPR league, I'm avoiding them. Half-point PPR, going in the 11th round, I definitely don't mind that approach. K. Rich taking Kareem Hunt. Now, the thing you got to keep in mind about Kareem Hunt, he's not going to be available for the first 10 weeks. He should not be drafted whatsoever in your redraft leagues, but in a best ball format, for some high upside play later in the year, I get why he's going there. Cam Newton, let's see if he can keep his arm on his body. I mean, honestly, that shoulder injury definitely concerns me. I'd much rather have someone like Russell Wilson, even with his rushing ability. I think that coaching staff definitely prevents him from scrambling, trying to keep him in the pocket, keep him protected, and that injury is definitely pause for the cause. Jalen Samuels going at the 11.6, great value there. I love James Conner. He has a very high upside, and he's going to be heavily utilized around that goal line. But Jalen Samuels is a great pass catching option out of that backfield. Could get a heavier role in 2019 if he can establish himself early on in the preseason. Definitely someone I'm monitoring more closely as we get closer to the season. Corey Davis received basically the complete target share in that Tennessee offense last year. Hopefully he can repeat that kind of production. But even with that heavy target share, he wasn't really able to do much with it. That offense as a whole definitely struggled last year. Luckily they had a stout defense, but I'm not confident in Marcus Mariota. I don't really want any part of that offense outside of Derrick Henry. So I don't mind him in the 11th round, but I don't frankly want any wide receiver from the Tennessee Titans this year. Dak Prescott, Steven, definitely redeeming yourself in the 12th round. See, now, if I waited for the 12th round to get my first quarterback and I got Dak Prescott, I would be thrilled with that kind of value. He's got a nice... he's got great rushing ability, especially around the goal line, to give you a safe floor and great upside going much later in your drafts. This is why you should wait for the quarterback position. LaShawn McCoy. Now, that Buffalo backfield is definitely one to avoid. We just did a video about that. Who's really going to merge as the RB1 in that offense? It's still yet to be seen. I'm not sure. I don't think anyone really is. But frankly, I think it's going to be ugly and probably a timeshare. You got Frank Gore, LaShawn McCoy. They got a rookie in Singletary and TJ Yeldon. Four running backs. No thanks. Austin Eckler, always present and accounted for in that Chargers offense. Check down option. Great change of pace back to give Melvin Gordon a breather. If Melvin Gordon ever gets hurt for an extended period of time, he automatically becomes an RB2. I love him later in your drafts as someone you can add more depth at the running back position, especially in PPR or half-point PPR formats. Golden State, don't hate that value. I just frankly hate the Giants' offense as a whole. Moncrief is someone you should definitely pay attention to, as well as Deshaun Jackson. Later values for your team. Everyone thinks James Washington's going to be the guy in Pittsburgh, but it's not really established yet. And Dante Moncrief is definitely an undervalued and overlooked asset that can provide great upside with all those vacated targets with the departure of Antonio Brown. Looks like K-Rich is going to time out. Ooh. Probably had his boy queued up. Had a search for Damian Harris. That's great value there. So, I'm going to kind of hedge my bet with Tyreek Hill. I'm going to go get Mecole Hardman. Now, I could have got Sammy Watkins, but there's definitely some injury concern there. So, to kind of hedge it, Mecole Hardman is definitely a safe option to kind of hedge your bet, because when those weeks he's suspended, he should be able to fill in, be a very viable option. Not seeing a lot of people I like. I'm going to take Jerick McKinnon. Hopefully he can bounce back from that injury. In a Shanahan-led offense, if he can establish as the RB1, he has tremendous upside as a later running back. Paris Campbell, the rookie wide receiver, going to Indy. With Andrew Luck as your quarterback in a high-tempo offense, love that. Carlos Hyde is kind of a handcuff, but if you watch Kyle Richardson's video the other day, there's some great sleeper value. Let me see if I can find him for you guys. I don't think he was off the board yet. Is it down that far? He might be. Darwin Thompson. There he is, guys. Darwin Thompson's going to be a huge sleeper value for you guys. Now, Kyle Richardson did a great in-depth video. Really sold me on his upside play. If Damian Williams doesn't pan out to be the running back we all think he can be, I do think he will be the running back one. Reports came out today from that camp saying he will be our lead running back. And when it comes to Andy Reid, he really likes utilizing one running back. So I'm not really looking to handcuff him then. Handcuff someone for Damian Williams, but he definitely has some high upside play, someone you need to pay attention to. Maybe off waivers. If Damian got hurt, he'd be definitely a huge priority. Don't think you really need to draft him in redraft, but just someone to keep in mind. In these best ball leagues, I definitely like snagging him maybe with your last pick. Payne Barber, that's just ugly. I don't want anything to do with that Tampa Bay running back committee. Tyrell Williams in Oakland. Derek Carr as a quarterback's not terrible. Should command a respectable target share. Horrible defense. They're going to have to pass the ball a lot. Kalen Ballage is kind of an afterthought, and rightfully so. I think everyone is underestimating what kind of step forward that Kenyon Drake's going to take this year. Kenyon Drake's going in the 4th round of most of these drafts. Going to be a great value for you guys. He was very efficient with the limited amount of touches he received last year. I'm not looking to target Kalen Ballage, but if an injury did happen to Kenyon Drake, I do believe Kalen Ballage would be the guy. Well, okay. DK Metcalf going there in the 13th round. Gotta love that upside. He's going to have to get acclimated to the offense, but he's a very talented wide receiver. If you're on Twitter, you see these videos where he's just running go routes and getting bombs from Russell Wilson. And, yeah, I love that upside. If he can get acclimated early, he definitely can play a very vital role in that offense. There's not a lot of receiving options, and there's not a lot of competition, so he could definitely thrive in that outside role. Some good value targets for you guys at the tight end position. Goddard and Mark Andrews. Good value at the tight end position. I don't mind Herndon as well. Speaking of which, that's definitely a position I'm going to need to address. Why are these guys still available? I don't get it. Why is everyone hating on Jack Doyle? I understand there's some concern around his injury and whether he's going to be healthy for week 1, but in these best ball formats, sign me up all day. I'm going to take Jack Doyle and Delaney Walker if these guys are available. That way, I'm done with the tight end position. I don't have to worry about it. Kyle Rudolph and what is a great offense now led by Kirk Cousins. Don't do it. Okay, thank you. Taking both these guys, solidify my tight end position. Delaney Walker. Old man Walker, very reliable option. It's kind of a safer play. Get out of here. Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. No! Oh my God. Hashtag never funches. Oh my God. I can't believe that happened. Stupid computer. Wow. Of all the players out of... Man. Why Funches? Oh, Jake's going to be pissed at me. Anyway, moving on with the draft. We got Anthony Miller. Great option. And Mitchell Trubisky, very solid quarterback, going very late in the draft. He has that kind of rushing ability to give you a very solid floor at the quarterback position. Deion Lewis is an afterthought because the hype is real around Derrick Henry, rightfully so. But one thing Derrick Henry does not do well is pass catching. Deion Lewis should thrive in that role. In PPR formats, definitely flex worthy. Half-point PPR best ball leagues, I don't mind it, especially in the 15th round. So as we take a look at my team, it's pretty well-rounded. I'm not mad at it whatsoever. I have 2 QBs, 5 running backs, 6 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. And now that's definitely the approach you want to take. At most, I'm taking 3 quarterbacks and maybe 3 tight ends, at most. But what I really want to focus on is the running back and wide receiver core of my team. It's going to give you a safer floor with more upside, give you a better chance to win that league. Now, one thing that you will not see on your desktop, if you're drafting from your desktop, is these weekly buys. So if you have your phone handy, I suggest you keep it with you. That way you can go and check out your buys. So when you're looking for bye week fill-in or positional depth players, you don't select someone who has the same bye week as your other players. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure my tight end position's really solidified and safe. If it is, then I can move on. Okay, Ebron bye week is 6. Delaney Walker's 11. Winston and Wentz have different bye weeks. So I feel pretty safe about that. We have 3 picks remaining. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. It's only an 18-round draft, so right now I'm looking for home run plays. So maybe a Tre'Quan Smith, a Michael Gallup. That could be a good value there. Deshaun Hamilton. Not Devontae Parker. John Brown, I like. Breida, Stills, Sanders. Yeah, there's some great options here. So I'm not going to pass those up. Josh Allen in the 16th round. Elephant. Great value for your quarterback position. Probably your QB2, if I'm not mistaken. Man, Bills Mafia is going to be pissed about that. I love myself some Josh Allen. Great value going very late. Right now, I'm looking for home run plays. So I'm going to go Tre'Quan Smith. And let's go John Brown. 2 home run type players. Add some much needed depth at the wide receiver position, especially since I rostered Tyreek Hill as my wide receiver 1. And with our last overall pick, we're going to just go with best available. Maybe a rookie, maybe another quarterback. It's basically whoever is left at this point. Well, if you are the first pick in the draft, you are also the last pick in the draft. Waiting for this to come around to make our last and final pick in the 18th round. Looking for high upside plays. What makes the most sense for us? I might need some more help at the tight end position. I don't know if I really want to go there. Eifert, I don't mind. Quarterback position, no thank you. And maybe running back. Josh Gordon. I do like Robert Foster, but I already got John Brown. Let's go Tyler Eifert. So that's going to wrap up this 10-man, $5 best ball league. If we take a look at my team, I decided to go with 2 QBs, 5 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. Normally when I go for value tight ends, I'll end up with 3 tight ends just to have more options at the position to fill in each week with more upside. The reason why I have so many wide receivers, I decided to go with Tyreek Hill as my wide receiver 1. So I wanted solid options to fill in while he's suspended, but once he returns, I'm going to definitely dominate there. So let's take a look at this team that we have assembled. Got Jameis Winston at quarterback, Ezekiel Elliott, James Conner, Tyreek Hill, Julian Edelman, Robbie Anderson, Eric Ebron, Damian Williams as our flex spot, Tyler Boyd, Carson Wentz as our QB2, followed up by Royce Freeman as depth position, bye-week fill-in type player, Mecole Hardman as kind of a handcuff, maybe a fill-in while Tyreek Hill is suspended. I kind of like that pairing right there, especially how late Mecole Hardman's going. Jerick McKinnon, another positional bye-week fill-in type player, maybe some flex option upside for him. Devin Funches, hashtag never Funches. My computer lagged and decided to draft him of all players for me. I will never draft Devin Funches by choice. Never. So, forgive me there. Delaney Walker, more tight end positional depth for us. Solid option. There's not a lot of receiving options in that Tennessee offense. Great red zone target. He's very reliable for where you're getting him. Took some home run options with Traquan Smith and John Brown. Very boomer bust type players, but in those best ball formats, we don't really care, especially when you're drafting them in the 16th and the 17th round. Same with Tyler Eifert. If he can reestablish himself, get healthy in that offense, he could definitely be a great red zone threat, give you some kind of upside, going as literally the last pick in this 10-man league. Don't hate it, just more depth at the tight end position because I decided for the tight end value approach. Like I said, I'm waiting at tight end, I'm waiting at quarterback, I'm solidifying that core. It's hard to ignore this team right here. This team I have assembled should win this league, hands down, and this is the type of approach, type of insight we're going to be giving you each week here at the Fantasy Headliners. I strongly suggest you guys join me, get that practice in, get the kind of insight we're giving you each week. Test your skills against some of the best out there. So yeah, come sign up today. Use our promo code Fantasy Headliners. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for the support. If you like this draft, you found it informational, please let me know in the comments down below. Who was the best value? Did I reach too much on Tyreek Hill? Are you worried about that? But as a whole, I really feel like you got to love that team. If you don't, please tell me why down below in the comments section. And until next time, guys, I'm your host, Ryan O'Connell, signing out.